Hello, and welcome to A Livelihood. I'm Karma Kitaj, and I'm your host. Today we have Lynn Auerbach with us. And Lynn is somebody who was a practicing psychologist years ago, and then she segued into another new career when she became somewhat of an entrepreneur, although she says she wishes she had made money on this. Lynn started to run a company called Impact Model Mugging, which helped people to learn how to protect themselves psychologically and physically from being mugged. And then she went on to a whole new project that we're going to talk about today called Connect Africa Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you.
So nice to have you here, Lynn.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So we shall start maybe in talking about how you conceived of this dream, which I guess you've had for a very long time. You told me that even back to when you were in your early 20s, you had been thinking about going to Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it took a lot of years, so I'll make it short, which is just that I graduated college in 1971, and literally I got home from college and I saw a movie called Born Free, and I've seen it subsequently, and it's kind of hokey, but at the time, I was 21 years old, something just happened. I saw it, and I knew. I just knew I wanted to go there, and I was getting married in 2 weeks, and I remember even calling Sandy, my now husband, my future husband at the time. I mean, I was hysterical crying, like, that gulping about wanting to go to Africa, and I got married. I had a whole life here, and it just stayed with me. That's what I don't have an answer for. It really, really stayed with me. And
you mean just that desire that calling that you had to go to Africa and do something there.
Right. And I'm a psychologist, so clearly, why Africa? What's Africa? What?
You've wondered about that.
Yeah, for all those years. And then when I owned Impact Model Mugging, I actually had been at a workshop, and the most poignant piece in that workshop was a woman said it's a 5-year exit plan when you own a business. And that day I walked away thinking about my children's age. What was 5 years from that point? My children's age I took into consideration, just selling the business, all the pieces, my marriage, and I chose, that was 1999, and I then said in 2004 I was going to go to Africa. And I did.
I know. So when you first went there, you tried something else out that was useful in moving you ahead in your planning, right?
Yeah. My first time going, I had no idea about anything. I think I was old enough, I was wise enough, I was settled enough to really know I knew nothing about Africa, and I had no idea.
Was this your first time?
I had been as a tourist to Tanzania, and then I had worked doing Impact Model Mugging in South Africa in 2002. And that's a whole nother phenomenal experience. So I had it wasn't my first, and I think that was good. And so I had a sense of that I needed to go by myself. I had a sense that I needed to be there a couple of months. I knew certain things, and I just started putting all of that in place. And so in 2004 I went for 3 months by myself to volunteer and consult to a nonprofit organization in the village I still live in. So I was able to be very calm and be very watchful. I was probably the most quiet I've ever been in my life. And things showed themselves, like the clinic I was working at the nurse was supposedly educating 3 children. They were orphans living with their grandmother, and she had in Uganda education. You pay for education; it's not free. There's no free education. So this grandmother, that's called Jaja in their language, had no money to educate these children. So she had asked the nurse at this clinic, who she's friends with, if the children could be there, and the nurse could start educating them. And the nurse really didn't know what to do. So I took over, and I said to myself, if you never are educated, what do you need? You never get to go to school. I thought what you need is to be able to write your name and be able to know numbers in terms of money, so you're not cheated, so you know how to pay for things and you're not cheated when you get the balance. And then the other, which I should say Connect Africa does, gives educational sponsorship to orphans, and it gives microloans, gives business startup loans to guardians of orphans.
Well, yeah, maybe this is a good time for us to show that little
sure.
clip from the video.
Yeah.
So why don't we go ahead and do that, because that's going to give people an idea of some of the different projects you're involved with.
Tusanga obuzibu baana abo abasigalanga wano nga tetulina ngeri gye tusobola kubayambamu.
Connect Africa has helped so many orphans in this area and so many widows.
My husband, he died this year. I have 13 people at my place. I'm not able to take care for the children. I asked them for loan. When I got the money, I bought another roll of the material to keep on doing my business.
Connect Africa has helped my mother by paying for us school fees to simplify the work she does, and I want to study hard to make sure that she does the computer training. But I think Connect Africa, they have made me not be at the street.
Kati nenfunayo ku buyambi, nentandika okulima obutiko, nenfuna ssente, nempeerera omwana paka looni bwe yaggwayo. Wali wasigaddeko kale ssente ntono, nensasula, ne bampa looni endala ey'enkoko. I want my children to go far in the studies. I want to build the house for layers, this one for broilers, and the other one for layers. That's my vision.
Yeah, so that gives us a good idea of some of the different kinds of projects. And I know you said, you always say a little money goes a long way in Africa. I know that's certainly true. So when we think about $25 per child to send him or her to school, so that's something that most of us in this country can afford. Right.
And $25, somebody gave $25 asking that it go for medical treatment. We have 2 children that are HIV positive, and that $25 equals about 50,000 shillings, Ugandan shillings, and we pay for the grandmother, the judge, to take her. Her name's Penina. She has to go into Kampala, and that's transport money. So $25 pays for close to a year of just transporting this child to get her medication, to get her ARVs. So yeah, it's really, it's great. It's really.
So we just have a few seconds left. Is there anything we have to hear that we haven't heard yet?
I think just what you said. It really takes a little, and we can go so far with it, and to not forget Africa in our own times of pulling back, taking care of ourselves a little can. Yeah, but I'm there, and go to the website and see more pictures. All right. Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Lynn. I appreciate your coming.
Yeah, thanks, Carla.